So when we are talking about investigation, a key aspect of the investigation is the data. And the quality of the data is fundamental for the outcomes you're going to get. Now, many types of data records, like persons, vehicles, have a lot of duplication in the real world, right? So it comes from different systems, different databases, sometimes different interactions that happen with an individual, and all of that creates a lot of redundant duplication, and that makes data disconnected. But for investigations, we want data to be connected. And there are techniques to do that, and the more prominent one and the most sophisticated and industry standard is to make entity resolution. Now, entity resolution is a key aspect of saying that John Doe is the same person as John W. Doe or J. Doe, right? So we want to make sure that when those records are the same, they are connected, but we also want to be very specific on who we connect, and sometimes we don't want to make those connections too automatic. Now, for that, you need a very robust entity resolution system. One system that can be used for that is the top of the line entity resolution, is Senzing. And Senzing delivers amazing results for disambiguation, considering multiple different attributes like date of birth, address, names, including different types of name writing with Western and Eastern differentiations and so on. It's a very complex way of joining data, but Senzing actually does a beautiful job at it. And it also performs an incremental analysis in a way that as new records come in, they are automatically adjusted and things might be put together or separate based on new information. Now, all of that topped with ability to create links, which goes beyond just connecting the records together. It can also say, well, these are not the same, but they share an address and they also share a phone number, so they do have a relation between them. And Senzing does that beautifully. So it creates that layer of entity resolution. Now, entity resolution being key is a primary part of an investigation, right? Like, so you start with entity resolution, you're already ahead of the curve, you are bounds and leaps forward, you jumped ahead of what would be a traditional investigation starting from scratch. However, entity resolution when doing analysis in a more heterogeneous environment can get pretty complicated. So let's say, for example, we have two different groups. One that works with an informant, right? So like a confidential informant, and another group that does the general criminal investigation. So the general criminal investigation group might only have access to the information that comes from the primary systems inside the organization, right? So your CAD, your RMS, so they're constrained by that data. But the people that work with the confidential informants, they might want to look at that data plus the information they are getting from their own informants. But that has to be kept siloed. So now doing entity resolution in those scenarios become quite complicated because you need to have two completely independent sets of resolved data. One that includes the informants with everything, and another one segregated with the rest of the database. Now that's complicated because the entity resolution system is designed to work best when it has all the information. So how do you now create this dynamic inside the organization in a transparent way? And that's what we've done with Siren, right? When you use the Siren search, we actually allow records that have been resolved to be shown independently and merged by Siren on demand. Right? So that means that we can apply full granular security. So we can secure data for these different groups, be it people that work with confidential informants, intelligence units, or whatever it is, in a way that if I have an individual that has 15 different records that should be consolidated, maybe one side of the organization should only be seeing 10, and the other side of the organization seeing 12. And another level will see all 15. Now Siren can control that security and still blend those records in the end. So now you get the best of both worlds. You have full security and full entity resolution happening in real time. And that's only possible by combining the results of entity resolution with the Siren search to make that dynamic consolidation.